Welcome back to BetQL Daily. Aaron Hawksworth, Nick Ashew, and Jim Rodriguez with you. And this is the 9th year that Mike Sando of The Athletic has done his annual survey where he interviews 50 NFL coaches and executives to do his quarterback tiers. So we're going to go through this first tier, and new to the list in the top tier, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow make their tier 1 debuts. So we'll get into the pressure that they face. But of course, we've got to start with number 1, tier 1 quarterback. He's there again, Aaron Rodgers. At number 2, we're going Patrick Mahomes. At number 3, Tom Brady. Number 4, Josh Allen. 5, Justin Herbert. 6, Joe Burrow. And then we get to tier 2. So, gentlemen, Nick Ashew, we can start with you. What was your immediate takeaways from this top tier with the new guys in the mix?
We may make fun of Aaron Rodgers a lot, but he's got respect around the league. I think that's one of the biggest things to keep in mind. There's other polls out there where, you've had front office executives and coaches and players polled, and it always ends up being Aaron Rodgers at the top, which is a testament to the talent that he has. We know how talented he is. We also know he's really, really good at trying to get attention, as we saw just recently with the whole Con Air bit. But it's fine. This is who Aaron Rodgers is. The only name in there, I'm not going to say he doesn't belong there, but there is a lot of pressure on him this year to prove that he belongs there next year. It's Justin Herbert. This past year was sort of his coming out party. It's, he's legit. Oh, okay. These teams that passed on him, Washington, thanks, guys. They're going to regret it. Well, now we need to see that continue this coming season. And this is what really falls on Justin Herbert and the Chargers. And as we know, an incredibly tough AFC West. In fact, the toughest division on paper that we've ever had in football. But Josh Allen is arguably the most physically talented quarterback in the NFL now. And he's got a chance to be an MVP this year. He's the MVP favorite. Tom Brady is who he is. Patrick Mahomes had a down year. We still know how great Mahomes is. And Joe Burrow just got the Bengals to a Super Bowl. So I have no problems with anybody in this list, but if I'm going to look at somebody that has the most to prove being in this top tier category, I would throw Justin Herbert in there now. And he could very easily answer because we saw what he was capable of last year, but he's going to have to take that next step. And Brandon Staley's going to have to stop going for it so much on 4th down so they can actually get to the playoffs. And then we can see Justin Herbert once you actually get to the postseason.
Yeah, Nick, you talk about passing on Justin Herbert, Miami, Tua.
Yep.
We hear about that every day down here. For me, I think I would do a swap. I think Justin Herbert belongs there. I would drop Joe Burrow. I think the sample size is just too small right now. I get it. You took him to the Super Bowl, but he's coming off an injured year. I want to see it again. And the disrespect for Matthew Stafford. He is a tier 1 quarterback. The guy's a Hall of Famer, and he's got a Super Bowl ring. How is he not a tier 1 quarterback? So I would swap. I would swap Stafford for Burrow as tier 1.
I am glad you brought that up because this morning when I was researching for the segment, I thought the same thing. I'm like, dang, the disrespect for Matthew Stafford. We'll get to him in tier 2, but something that I thought was really interesting in this piece by Mike Sando in The Athletic for Justin Herbert, an offensive coach said, quote, "Man, I was so impressed with him live. He has a chance to do something special. He's the best pure thrower of the 3 young guys, Herbert, Allen, Burrow. I didn't realize he was that athletic. One of our studs was chasing him down. He got around him and was laughing at him the whole time. The competitive spirit, the athletic ability. I saw a freaking stud in our game." I'm excited to see what Justin Herbert can do and take another step forward. Listed at number 5 in this first tier, but tremendous upside for him and the Chargers.
It's an offensive line that certainly has the potential to protect him and allow him to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But, we know how this is. When you're a young quarterback, you're not really given a lot of time to develop, a lot of time to grow. And now that Herbert has shown he can take that next step, now he's shown that he can be a franchise quarterback. And there's already conversations about him, future MVP, what he's going to get paid now that we saw what Kyler Murray got paid and what Lamar Jackson's eventually going to get. All of that conversation is surrounding Justin Herbert. But you've got to capitalize on that from last year heading into this year. You see the physical gifts that are there, but as the years go on, especially this year and then even next year after that, if he doesn't show progression, the Chargers don't show progression, then it's going to start to be question marks around Justin Herbert as opposed to where the potential is. It's a very short window of just, hey, you've got the physical gifts and you've got an opportunity to, learn on the job and grow where it is. Herbert's kind of passing that area now in his career where he's expected to produce for a team that should be in the playoffs this year.
So on the flip side, there was
a high-profile division too. That AFC West is wild.
Hey man, as high profile as it's ever been, like there's no division that has had more hype and more just like eye-bulging talent than what we see right now in the AFC West.
Yep.
So there's a GM who was interviewed who said, because we're going to have to think about who would we take out, who would we put into this top tier, and is this accurate? That he said Burrow is a young Tom Brady. He put Allen and Burrow in the top tier, but not Herbert. I think Herbert has shown he can do it in doses. Burrow is a step ahead. I think his mind is a lot quicker than Herbert's. Burrow wins with his brain, and he has had to because he played behind probably the worst offensive line ever to get to the Super Bowl. I like that argument. So, let's start with you, Nick. We already heard J-Rod a little bit say that he would have put Stafford in the top tier, but who would you take out and who would you put in?
I'm not taking anybody out of this, and I like Matt Stafford, but Joe Burrow being able to get that Bengals team to the Super Bowl last year, a year before, they were one of the worst teams in the NFL. Now, I understand part of it was because he was hurt. So clearly, it benefited having them out there. But that shows you how important the Bengals, or how important Joe Burrow is to the Bengals. We know having a franchise quarterback always raises your ceiling. But there's something different about that team that goes beyond just what, the 4,600 yards and 34 touchdown passes last year from Joe Burrow. It's the attitude. It's the confidence. There's a different, we talk about the Mets not metting. The Bengals didn't Bengal this past season. And that's an accomplishment. The fact that they just got to the playoffs was an accomplishment. Winning the division was an accomplishment. Getting to the Super Bowl with that atrocious offensive line where Joe Burrow was getting knocked on his back every other play shows you the poise, shows you the confidence that he has, which also matters. His leadership ability matters just as much. And I'm not saying Matt Stafford doesn't have that leadership ability, but Joe Burrow has been able to take a garbage team and get them to a Super Bowl in essentially his first full year as a starter. And we know what Matt Stafford wasn't able to do with the Detroit Lions. And I'm a Matt Stafford fan. I think he's a great quarterback, a future Hall of Famer. And I'm glad he's getting the recognition now with the Rams. But Joe Burrow, able to turn this organization around so quickly to the point where their kicker is calling his kicks before they win games in the playoffs. That tells you there is a level of swag that just cannot be matched by almost any other quarterback in the NFL. And that's a part of what a quarterback needs to be, is not just what they do on the field. It's their leadership qualities. It's how everybody else rallies around them. And you're seeing that with Burrow over really almost any other quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, they say the best ability is availability in any sport. Well, we know Joe's going to miss at least 2 to 4 weeks because he's having an appendectomy. So he's already a little bit behind. He's not going to miss the season. The season's about 6 weeks away, and an appendectomy takes 2 to 4 weeks. But once again, I want to see it one more time before, to me, he's tier
1. Well, where are we at on Josh Allen? So this was interesting. Allen became the 9th player in QB Tier's 9-year history to command Tier 1 votes on at least 75% of ballots. So Rodgers has done it 9 times, followed by Brady 8, Mahomes 4, Drew Brees 3, Russell Wilson 2, Peyton Manning 1, and Roethlisberger 1. So one executive said Josh Allen is a better version of Lamar Jackson, and I love him as a football player. I still think he's erratic as a thrower, so he doesn't scare me the same way Rodgers does, but he is ascending. Any thoughts on Josh Allen in this top tier?
He's in a prove-it year. I don't think there's any question that we need to see him now get through the Chiefs. He had an MVP caliber season for a good portion of last year. He's one of the MVP favorites, depending on where you're shopping again this year, but we have seen drastic improvement from him where he was under 53% in terms of his completion percentage his rookie year. This past season, it went a little bit down. Almost 70% of his passes completed 2 years ago. So he's shown that improvement. He's got the athletic ability. But again, it goes with Justin Herbert and just getting the Chargers to the playoffs. This now means you need Josh Allen to get the Bills to the Super Bowl. You've got one of the best defenses in the NFL. You've got plenty of weapons on offense for you. You have everything you need. By all accounts, you've got a really good coach in McDermott. So you have what you need there in Buffalo to have a winner, to have a true Super Bowl contender. But in the end, if you're going to get paid like a franchise quarterback, you've got to play like a franchise quarterback, and he needs to now take that next step as well. The ability is there. The leadership seems like it's there. The culture is totally different in Buffalo, but in the end, the results matter on the field. You talk about Matt Stafford not getting enough in terms of respect when he was in Detroit. Well, you got the results once he went to LA. So you're going to need those results from Josh Allen for him to justify continuing staying in this tier as well. And it's obviously higher than where Justin Herbert is in terms of expectations.
Yeah, you talk about winning by losing. Josh Allen in that playoff game against the Chiefs, arguably one of the greatest playoff games ever. I think that's where he cemented his legacy and who he is. And I 100% agree with you, Nick. It's time to win. It's okay. You've grown, you've made your mistakes. They're a powerhouse. They have got to at least get to the Super Bowl. And right out of the gate, they're in LA week 1 to play the Rams on Thursday night. So right out of the gate, all eyes are on Josh Allen. But I love them. They're my pick to go to the Super Bowl. And I think he's gonna show out. And I think he's the MVP.
I love it. So Josh Allen, you can find him 7-1 for MVP, and then followed by Allen, it's Brady 8-1, Mahomes 9-1, Rodgers 10-1, Herbert 10-1, Joe Burrow 12-1. So those are the guys that are in the top tier there. A little different order than what Mike Sando has. Do you guys both like Allen for MVP? Or is there someone else you're looking at in that top tier that you would place a bet on?
I love the
Rodgers isn't going to win it again.
It's not going to be Aaron Rodgers again. I'm ruling him out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's definitely value on Burrow.
Love it.
And it's interesting, too, because, if you mention Burrow, you also have to think that team is better than where they were last year. They're also going to be a target. The AFC is certainly more talented, and their schedule is going to be a lot tougher having a first-place schedule versus a last-place schedule. So we'll know what type of team the Bengals are early, but having an improved offensive line will give Joe Burrow an opportunity to prove to you, J-Rod, that he deserves to be in this tier 1, because I love Joe Burrow. I've been on the Joe Burrow bandwagon since week 1 of last year when they beat the Vikings in overtime. I was like, look at this atmosphere. This team just feels different. But, you have to kind of look at sort of where the team performances are going to be as well. And with Josh Allen and the Bills having the potential to win their division, when it could be a lot tougher for Cincinnati. There's other factors in their division, including Deshaun Watson and what his status is, meaning what Cleveland is going to be. But there is certainly value on Joe Burrow at 12-1, just because now he's one of the hot commodities, right? The flavor of the month. Everybody's looking at how fun he is and the leadership and what he was able to do for the Bengals. So that can certainly lean in his direction, because when it comes to end of season awards, there's votes, and then there's the human element, and there's certain narratives that voters will follow. So Burrow at 12-1 is certainly a high value bet without question.
Well, I'm a big cigar guy. I'll send him a box of some nice.
There you go.
If he gets it, I know he does indulge.
So you guys would rather do Burrow 12-1 than Herbert 10-1?
I just right now, when you look at the Bengals have a chance to have the Bengals also have a chance to have a letdown season because their schedule is tougher and their division is good. But like, if I were to look at the two teams, the Bengals have an opportunity to still be a division winner, though I will say I like the Ravens. There's a little, like, it's just that AFC West, I just feel like everybody's going to cannibalize each other when it comes to wins, when it comes to performance, because it's just so tough. And every great team there that has a great quarterback in the division also, and then it has then gone out and tried to adjust their pass rush to add more talent there, to go after the quarterbacks they have every single week. It's just going to be really difficult for those teams going through that schedule and that division for the entire year to maximize what they would look like in any other division.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. The Ravens are the favorite to win the division. So Joe Burrow plays in the AFC North, and he doesn't even have his team isn't even favored to win their division. I think they'll make the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. Same thing with Herbert, but I think Herbert's gauntlet is a lot longer, a lot harder than it is for Burrow. So definitely that 12-1, a guy coming off a Super Bowl season. Yeah, I'm going to go with Burrow.
All right. You guys got me convinced I might want to do an MVP on Burrow now too, because what are the first 4 games tough? You were saying, Nick, for the Bengals? Because maybe I want to wait if they lose a couple games.
You got to think their schedule as a whole is now going to be a first-place schedule. They got one of the toughest schedules in the NFL coming off of winning their division. So just in general, the whole year is going to be a gauntlet. But they got the Steelers, the Cowboys, the Jets, and Dolphins. So it's not a hard start for them. It's the issue of just the entire season for them.